Of 68 Best Bet Show presented by BetRivers, the three-man weave back again. Here we are. And Jim and I, that's a constellation. Jim and I are wearing the exact same shirt.
Go Tigers.
That's right. Missouri Tigers, our alma mater. They're playing today against Florida. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Dayball. Friend of the night, man, something like that. Philadelphia, always sunny. Jim, takeaways from yesterday, an awesome slate. Wow. So many great games. What'd you see in particular?
Yeah, I have a feeling I'm probably swiping Matt's takeaway, so I apologize, Matthias, but it's basically that genuinely awesome college hoop atmospheres are the best. Yes. We had two of maybe the best you'll ever see last night with Texas Tech and Auburn hosting big-time rivals, very emotionally charged games, particularly in Lubbock. It was fantastic. It made me long to go see a great atmosphere, and I'm hoping I get one tomorrow night in Tucson, Kai. So it basically seduced. I was seduced by college hoops last night.
Such a great seductress, Jim. And yes, with fans in the stands. What a lovely sight that was. Here's my takeaway, kind of an odd nitpick. I'm looking at the Mountain West a little more closely this morning, Kai, and there wasn't like a ton of big time action in that league last night. Utah State, Air Force, and
the Air Troops got pounded.
And so did San Jose State. The upper end of that league, it's not as inequitable as we saw last season, where it was like the bottom teams were really bad and the top teams were really good. But you look at the KenPom ranks at Boise State, Utah State, Fresno, San Diego State. I mean, this team is like on the verge of having 5-6 top 50 teams, with Boise's now inside the top 30. Utah State's up to 33. There's been a lot of blowouts within conference. I wonder how that's sort of skewing the analytic numerical rankings there, and then thus our just perception of these teams. But the Mountain West is pretty top heavy. And it's just been pretty impressive, to be honest. I know it's been a lot of parity in that league, but in general, I like all these teams.
Utah State has 9 losses and is 33rd in the country.
33rd, yeah.
That's like Penn State, Matt. That's what they do.
I guess the better point, Jim, is I think they're really good, but my skeptical eye is raised. I can't really do a good eye raise like that. You guys do
that? Yes, of course. Auburn, fantastic. Wow. Killed Alabama. Great game. Kansas beat Iowa State without Agbaji in the lineup. Also impressive. Talk about UNC real quick. Wow. Holy ref show at the end of the game. Baycott flop, called a technical foul, and then a controversial call on a rebound as well. Hey, I wasn't on the other side, but if I was a Louisville backer, I'm a little bit angry about that game, or a Louisville fan. But
hey, Pat Taylor, shouts to our guy. Baby.
That's right.
How do people win games in overtime? How do people cover games in overtime? Never
understand it.
Yeah. Teach us, Pat.
Been a rough overtime year for the Weave. All right, let's get into the slate here. Let's talk about Villanova at Marquette leads our show off. Matthew, Villanova revenge time. They lost to Marquette earlier in the season. Marquette, we know, is tough at Fiserv and in general, but I was surprised to see they're only 6-6 against the spread at home, 3-2 as a home dog. Who do you like in this one? About a 4.5 point spread.
Yeah, I kind of lean toward Marquette, to be honest, even though it's a weird spot, obviously, with Villanova coming back to the Midwest with that revenge on top of mind. My bigger take, Jim, is under. I think there's I think Villanova's pace. Okay, just take it, Jim. Take it away.
You tell it and I'll just reinforce it.
It's a great bet. I mean, I think Jim will give the better points, but Villanova controlled the tempo in that first game. In general, throughout Big East play, they've been controlling it to their liking. You could argue there's some shooting regression coming in their favor, which may not play well for the over or the under, I guess, in this scenario. But again, Marquette's hyper fast offensive tempo has inflated their totals components. I think both teams are just built to defend what the other does on offense, and the first matchup will look more like this one as opposed to teams will adjust on offense, and we'll see more of an opening up of this game. I think we see a carbon copy of that first matchup. Ugly, low scoring, slow paced.
Yeah, Villanova's a really tough team to speed up. Like they're just too disciplined, they're too experienced, they're too well coached. And Marquette's playing like a full second slower on offense in conference play, Matt. So I think they have actually become a pretty decent under team because they're not playing up to the same frenetic pace that they had in non-conference play. Lately, it's been really slow. Like you mentioned, 61 possessions in the first game, only 111 points. Love the under. And I'm dueling towards Villanova too. Kai, the shooting splits in that first game, Marquette 45% from three, including the game winner. Villanova just 25%. That is pretty rare to see at the Pavilion where Villanova gets outshot that badly. I'm leaning towards Villanova. Can't really lay it at the current price, but under 133 is one of my best bets. Starting out, this is a late tip, so starting early on the outline, but late in the night. Kai, to your point on the home dog thing, Shaka's 6-1 against the spread as a road dog, but not as strong at home as a home dog. So I was surprised by that split as well.
I was too. My perception was they were just super strong at home this year against the spread. I do think Marquette's value is nearing its peak. If it's not already there or even a little bit past it, terrific job this season, but I think they're flying a little bit too high. Nova off the revenge, obviously much better than their number 12 AP ranking and maybe even their number 7 KenPom ranking. So I am leaning towards Villanova only slightly. I like your undertake. Good job, Thanks. Jim. Game 2, Wisconsin at Illinois, a battle for first place in the Big Ten. Jim, Curbelo rumored to play. Don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know what your opinion on it is, but Brad Underwood, Jim, likes Trent Frazier's chances against Johnny Davis. Is that right?
Sure does. He has gone on many a rant, re Trent's defensive ability. Shout out to our buddy Coy DePratt for pointing those out to me and sending them to me. I didn't realize how passionate Underwood was about that, but he's talked about like the box scores for opponents and how poorly the opposing star has been when they play against Frazier. So we're going to see that ultimate test tonight against probably the National Player of the Year front runner in Davis. I don't know, Matt. Wisconsin had won and covered 7 straight in Champaign before last season when Illinois finally got some retribution, won by 15. I was kind of coming into this with the perception, oh, Wisconsin is a dog. I like that. Now they're getting a touchdown up to 7. But I'm kind of coming back around the other way where Illinois, I think, has some edges. And the number is a little bit short for Wisconsin, how they've been outperforming analytical rankings. So what do you think? I'm torn here.
I'm extremely torn too. Looking at Kofi being his usual dominant self last game, I just think that opens up the full potential of this Illinois offense, which basically got by, not with smoke and mirrors, but with really hot shooting. In his absence, we've seen the offense regress as shots have not fallen. So I think Kofi's return is perfect, just given the fact that those shots, Grandison, Plummer, Frazier, they were shooting like 50 million% from 3. Those are starting to kind of come back down to earth. So Kofi gives them some stability there, some balance. Right. And Wisconsin defending Kofi to me is the key matchup here, not the Davis thing. I'm more worried about how they're going to defend him up front, Kai. They'll probably double Jim. I think that's kind of a Wisconsin staple. So then can the Illinois shooters convert? If we see the shooting that was at play December, then Illinois, I think, can blow them out at home. But if the shots aren't falling and Davis can, basically do his matchup, agnostic of matchup defender, 30 points, highly efficient, then Wisconsin probably keeps it close. But yeah, I'm with Jim. Torn, very torn.
Yeah, Kofi should be fine. Badgers tough team defense. Corral needs to be more physical. He's big. He's 7 feet tall, but doesn't have the strength quite that Kofi does. You're going to see a lot of Johnny Davis post-ups, I think, against Frazier. Guard really hammered the post early and often against Minnesota. I'm not sure they can do that anywhere else besides Davis. Clearly, there's not going to be an advantage for Wall or Corral inside in this game. It'll be interesting. I think it's too many points, just a little bit. 7 points seems like a lot. This Wisconsin team's really come together nicely. Tons of chemistry on that roster. So I'd probably lean towards the Badgers, though officials stay away from me.
I think Wall post-ups could work, right? Against Grandison. It's not
against the non-Kofi forward. Yeah.
He's very good. He's very good.
Yeah.
He's almost all the way healthy. I think he's still lingering just a little bit, but he's almost there. Okay. All right, next game. Oklahoma State at Kansas State. Big 12 matchup here. Matt, I lean OSU, but I don't trust them. K-State, not a great home favorite. 2-5-1 against the spread in this one. Do you have a side?
Torn as well. Got a lot of fence riding for me today. 3 straight losses for the Pokes without Bryce Anderson, who I believe could play tonight. I think he's a pretty key piece. I know they have depth, but the offense has really been sluggish without his dynamism there in the backcourt. But yeah, K-State at home, just short spread. It feels like this is the peak of Kansas State's value. So I'm not endorsing a sell high, but it feels like a weird time to all of a sudden come in and back K-State here, Jim. So all that said, I'd probably lean Oklahoma State, but nothing strong.
Yeah, Oklahoma State's won 4 straight outright in this matchup, which surprised me a little bit. But Kansas State has struggled with injuries the last couple of seasons, so that is part of it. I do kind of lean Kansas State at home here, but laying a bunch of points with them is concerning. They're just kind of a weird slight anomaly in the Big 12 where they can actually spread you out with shooting. Like they can play 4 out because of Masu and playing Mark Smith at small ball 4. That actually really helps space the floor. And I think you need to against Oklahoma State, Kai. It's a really compact defense. They'll throw some weird matchup zone that looks at you. So I kind of lean towards Kansas State here. They actually have at-large hopes, whereas, Oklahoma State is completely out of that running, but maybe that means, regular season means more for Oklahoma State. So again, a little bit torn here, lean towards Kansas State.
Concern on the glass for the Purple Kittens, Kai. You look at their defensive rebounding rates. It's been way, way worse in Big 12 play. I think they got away with that small ball lineup, Jim, in non-con, and it's come back to bite them defensively. Now I think they've made up for it with their offensive efficiency, the way they can spread people out. But that's an avenue for Oklahoma State to score tonight. Just crash, play volleyball.
I think it's the only avenue. Free throws and boards, the only avenue. Their offense is terrible. K-State, best ball handling team in the league this year, should help against the number 1 turnover rate defense in the league. OSU is giving up the highest percentage of points from 3 in the conference. K-State is scoring the highest percentage of points from 3 in the conference. Couple of good matchup angles, I think, for K-State. Like I said, I lean Oklahoma State. I think gut and matchup wise, I lean towards K-State. Next game, Purdue at Minnesota, the barn. Jim, just initial thoughts here. Double digits is a lot of points at the barn, but like the Terps, there are a few big teams that aren't doing well at home against the spread, and Minnesota's one of them. They're 3-7 against the spread of the barn this year. Another shocking statistic. What do you think?
Yeah, Minnesota's like big strength this year is they slow everything to a grinding halt and kind of just hang around. And that's less important at home. And if they're getting basically, 6 or 7 less points on a spread than they would on the road, that's a little bit disadvantageous for them. I mean, just looking at this, Matt, on paper, the talent edge is so massively overwhelming for Purdue. The size edge is huge for them. Depth, everything. I mean, like there's almost everything on paper just points straight at the Boilers, but Minnesota can be a little bit feisty. So that's scaring me off a little bit. And the number is probably higher than I would make it. So I'm leaning towards Purdue just because of all like the talent size edges. And I think they can completely dominate the paint in this one, even with Curry back. I think he's still a little gimpy for Minnesota, but the number's enough to scare me off here.
Yeah, right. I just respect Ben Johnson, especially catching this many points, despite all the pretty stark talent size edges that you mentioned, Jim. I mean, Kofi murdered Minnesota up front. Like
that's the game that I think I feel like is the comparison.
Right. Like that's the blueprint for Purdue, which has like 2 Kofis. I mean, I'm making a stretch here, but you see what I'm saying. No matter how much Ben Johnson schemes and tries to devise a game plan to shut off Purdue's interior scoring, Kofi proved he was immune to it. And I got to think Edey and Williams, especially, they're probably better passers, especially Williams out of the post. I think there's just opens up a world of, inside out catch and shoot kicks for Purdue. Everything sets up for Purdue, Kai. The only thing for Minnesota is, like I said, we respect Ben Johnson, and this is now their second game where they have all their players back. So maybe they're a little bit more at full strength, quote unquote.
I respect the hell out of him. They were never out of cover range one time at the Kohl Center when I was there. Willis is underrated. Battle's underrated. Stevens is underrated. They all play well together, and Ben Johnson, he's really won me over. Eric Curry, though, if he gets in foul trouble, which I think he will, Purdue's going to eviscerate them. He's the only thing holding their interior together. When he's off the floor, Purdue's going to absolutely destroy them. And he can shoot out to like 15, 17 feet, but he's not taking threes. He's not pulling the bigs away from the basket. And it's the best offensive rebounding team in the Big Ten versus the second worst. The matchup angles are too much for me to take Minnesota.
Minnesota will put Edey in ball screens. I guess they run a ton of that with Willis and Lowy, but I don't think that's enough to keep up.
Yeah. Chatma, round 1. I think Matt's been rounding them up. What do you got, buddy?
Yeah, in the process. Hey, let's start off with your Mizzou Tigers.
Let's do that.
Made a little matinee. Jim, right side up flag, Mizzou, no longer a dumpster fire, just sort of a annoying thorn in the side of SEC opponents, I guess, at this point in random spots. What do you make of this matchup?
Yeah, Kwanzo's finally realized that, I don't have the roster to run up and down and play transition in 70 plus possessions. He's starting to grind it out way more. And I think that helps them favorably as a dog. And Kai, I think we like the total as well.
We do. It's my best bet. Florida, Mizzou under 135. Yeah, like Jim said, Mizzou's playing a lot slower in conference play, smartly. Good job, Conzo Martin. It's also a sleepy tip time. This game got moved up due to the impending snow in Columbia, Missouri. I think it has a better chance to be a little sleepier for both teams. And also still no Castleton, I don't think, for Florida.
Yep,
he would have dominated this matchup. Castleton would have taken Mizzou to the woodshed. So I think him being out actually helps the under here. So Mizzou under 135.
It's 134.5 at BetRivers. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm seeing 135.
Hit refresh. Tell me what you see.
In Michigan, I got 135.
Jim, what are you looking at? What book?
Interesting. I'm looking at the Arizona version. Do they have
usually always
numbers?
aligned, aren't they? I guess they shade for locality biases, I think, occasionally, but that's odd.
Mine says it's 135 in Arizona too. Well, whatever. 135 or 134.5, your choice.
Drive to Michigan and then take the 135.
Yeah, if you're in Arizona, head on.
Perhaps
catch a flight.
Whatever. It's close enough. Under is best bet, Matt. Back to you.
Love it. Agree. Yeah, I think Mizzou's high scoring games have been kind of fluky in my opinion, but we'll see. Maybe they actually can make shots now. Not really buying that. Tooch, got a little twofer for us. Clemson, Florida State, and George Washington at LaSalle. Clemson, Florida State's on the outline. We'll get to that later. G. Wash, LaSalle. I saw both of you take my Colonials, and I was a little bit I felt left out, Jim. That's sort of my pet team. They've been more feisty in conference play. They got Ricky Lindo back last game, and the Explorers are ironically lost right now. So what are you looking at?
Yeah, well, that's your issue is you like LaSalle too much, and
I do.
You shouldn't.
I don't like LaSalle. I guess I just don't think they're as bad as the market per se, which is dumb.
Credit to my buddy Jared Smith at Pickswise. I didn't realize this. LaSalle hasn't won away from Philadelphia yet this season. Going on the road to a team that is healthier with George Washington, I lean that way. They're a really hard team to trust, and I can definitely envision myself at 5 p.m. Pacific being like, why did I trust this Jamie and Christian-led team that is maddening all the time? But I do lean that way.
Kai, a lot of people asking about East Carolina Temple. I know Jim has a stronger opinion on this game.
I do not have a strong take on this game.
Okay, Kai, well, manufacture a strong take in profound fashion here on this one.
Temple's been ironically better without Jake Forrester in the lineup, so that makes no sense. East Carolina has not had Suggs in the lineup for a couple of games. I don't know if he's coming back or not. I kind of lean ECU at home here. I think they lost the first matchup. So a little revenge angle in that sense, but I got nothing strong, Matthew.
Yeah, I lean towards ECU, but not strong. You can't trust that team the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, I think Suggs matters. The chat mob was like all in on ECU, like really hyped to fade Temple, which sounds fun, but Temple's been surprisingly good relative to my expectations. And ECU, I think, needs Suggs. So I would check on his availability before you go Hamilton on that game. Tim Kafer, Rhode Island, Fordham, a little best bet spoiler here for me. I like the Rams. Fordham's just not a good team, guys. It's what we liked about Fordham initially, Jim, is that they had like this coat of paint with new players like Quisenberry and Antonio Day, two fun guards to lead the Kyle Neptune's offense. Now without Day, you look at that roster, it's like, oh, it's a lot of those old Fordham guys that I really didn't like. So it's like you're removing the paint. You see the old crusted, rusty car, circa 2005. It looks like old Fordham, Kai. That's all I'm trying to say. It's not a good team. I think Rhode Island's been fairly impressive in spots the last few weeks. I thought competing with Dayton was caught my eye. Dayton's a team I'm very high on. Can't score, can't make free throws. I'm sure they're going to miss huge free throws down the stretch to screw us here, but let's pray for that not to happen. So Rhodey, -5.
Rhodey -5, best bet for Matt. Great. Boom. Fantastic. More chat mob. Do you have any more?
We do. Ryan Abramowitz, Loyola, Chicago, Illinois State.
This is Pat Taylor's lock, by the way.
This is Pat Taylor's lock, and he's riding a 3-0 streak, maybe going for 4-0. So I don't know if we need to break it down because that sort of sums it up right there. I think it's basically a done deal. But Kai, if you had to add something to this analysis, what would you add?
Yeah, I think it's a great bounce back spot for Loyola. I don't think Illinois State is that good without Cy Chapman. They just got blown up by UNI. That fluke cover against Drake, whatever. This is their third game without him now. I think it catches up, especially against a really good team like Loyola. So I'd lean that way as well.
Yeah, I'd be a little concerned about look ahead to the revenge Missouri State spot this weekend, but they're coming off a loss. I don't think they're going to sleepwalk after a loss.
Don't hate that. Should we go to the extras? Let's go to some extras real quick here. Ryan N asking about Binghamton Stony Brook. Still pretty annoyed that Stony Brook blew that lead in Binghamton. So perhaps revenge spot here. I'm going to probably kick myself for not taking Stony again. Jim, did you hop on Stony this time?
I did not. I just think Binghamton's a lot feistier than I gave him credit for. And Stony Brook, maybe they're angry finding out about their postseason ban today. That could be an extra motivational edge, and they take it out on Binghamton. But not enough for me to back the Seawolves here.
Kai, how about UNCA Longwood? A lot of Big South action tonight. Longwood's basically invincible at this point. Is this any sort of a potential letdown, sleepy spot after their big win over Winthrop? I just think they're really good. I'm not trying to get in that steam.
Yeah, my numbers said take Asheville at +2, but I politely said no, thank you. Number.
No.
I'm gonna step away and get out of Longwood's way for the time being. No, I don't want to fade that team currently.
This kind of one that I think maybe this is where Longwood trips up, but we'll see.
I'm with Jen there, but I'm always trying to play the stupid contrarian against the grain thing, and that worked out terribly last night for old Matthew. Couple more here real quickly. Gardner-Webb, High Point, Jim. Speaking of Big South action, Gardner-Webb, one of those top dogs. Winthrop, Campbell, trying to catch up, keep pace with Longwood. Although I kind of like High Point. Thoughts?
High Point is a big shrug for me. I think they are
Defining
smack dab in the middle of the Big 12 or the Big South standings. That's where they belong. Gardner-Webb, it's been bet up a little bit. I think it opened pick, and Gardner-Webb now like a 2-point favorite. I lean that way too, kind of with the steam. I like the running Bulldogs. They're just better.
Oh, hey, there's some main board questions I did miss. I'll just save them for the latter half. Kai, just take one of these last two Big South matchups: Hampton, USC Upstate, or
I'll take that one, Matt.
Okay, Jim, take it. And then Kai, you're getting the Blue Hose versus the Camels.
Okay. Upstate's one of my best bets, Matthew. So that's why I figured I would field that.
That's right.
one.
You did a 2 for today. Yeah, take it.
Upstate -3. That's what I was seeing at BetRivers. This is definitely not one that like preseason my numbers would have absolutely rejected this. They would have said, you got to bet Hampton, you loser. But Upstate has been absolutely on fire right now. And unlike Matt, I'm not trying to like zig super hard against teams that are trending way up. Upstate's been, like I said, they've been a torch in conference play. They're shooting like 45% from deep. Opponents are shooting 27%. So if you really buy a regression, I think Hampton is probably the bet. But this is a lot like Wilmington, Kai. My Wilmington best bet a couple days ago. Upstate is really, really rolling right now, and I'm not getting in the way of that in a short spread.
Yeah. As far as Presbyterian goes, Matt, I kind of lean Campbell in the opener. Now, 3.5 for some places. I'm leaning Presbyterian. It's a super athletic team at home, can keep games close, keep them to a grind. Campbell's not going to try to run at all in this game, so I think low scoring favors the Blue Hose.
Agree. All right, back to outline.
Back to outline we go. To the ACC we go. Notre Dame at Miami, Florida. Should we keep riding the Canes, Jim? I kind of say, why not? The only hope is Miami needs to get out on shooters. They've allowed they rank 11th in 3-point attempt rate allowed. So bad. And that's Notre Dame's game. Number 1, 3-point attempt rate, 3rd in 3-point percentage in ACC play. Do you have a side in this one?
No side. I sort of lean towards Miami, Florida. I had a Notre Dame buddy of mine text me that he thinks maybe they're running out of gas a little bit. They're very thin. They only go 7 deep. Just played a really tough Blue Devils team on Monday. Now they got the second game in a week. Miami did not have to play the early week game. So a little bit of an edge there for the Canes. I kind of like the under. I think Notre Dame's really going to try to slow things down because of that lack of depth. And Miami hasn't been as much of a fireball lately, but it's not really a strong take, Matthias. If I had to bet something, it would be the under, but I'm not hammering this game by any means.
Yeah, I think I lean that way. Just a tough spot for Notre Dame. They were, coming off the emotionally charged game against Duke. Duke just completely overwhelmed. They just weren't ready for that level of athlete. Miami more in their weight class. Spread feels pretty sharp to me, Kai. I don't really see a ton of value on either side or total. I think I do agree with Jim, though. If there is a play, probably go under. I could argue there's some shooting regression for both sides here.
Yeah, everything on Miami is this sustainable? Is this sustainable? They've been scorching in league play from deep. Notre Dame's defense has been actually so, relatively speaking, in the ACC. They've been better, but they're not very good on the road. They're a worse road team than they are home team. It's a total back and forth here. I'm staying away personally. And then we move to the next game. A10, Dayton at VCU. Matt, VCU needs this to keep their tourney hopes, their A10 title hopes alive. Game 1 was ugly, 60 possessions. VCU won 53-52. That's a real score. 105 points in that game. Any edge here for VCU or Dayton?
Kind of a torn again. The Dayton guards, young backcourt, I believe Elijah Weaver is out tonight, but I think I was worried about them in this first matchup handling VCU's pressure. Only turned over 15 times. That's not an outrageous number. I think the turnover rate was relatively
in a 60 possession game. That's too many.
What was the turnover? I thought it was like mid-teens. Maybe I had that wrong. Yeah, so I think it was high teens or 20.
Right?
Was it that high? Okay, well that's not. I guess I must have glossed over the possession.
25% turnover rate.
Not great. Okay, did not watch that game, so I'm glad we adjusted that. So that's a problem, and I think they're going to have the same pressure issues tonight, especially without Weaver in there. I watched Dayton against Rhode Island. They struggled to get into their offense. I think that team without bona fide shooting tends to cramp around those bigs inside Jim, and that can really bog down that offense. Now, VCU has their own offensive issues, but I certainly lean VCU here.
Yeah, VCU won on the road without Stockard or Nunn. That's two almost full-time starters. That was pretty impressive. It was very much a coin flip late. Ace Baldwin hit a pull-up three that kind of pushed them over the edge. Otherwise, it was definitely a coin flip. I twisted myself into a pretzel trying to figure out the total here. KenPom has us at 114 points. Last game closed 124 and landed 105. And now we're sitting at 121.5. So I'm leaning towards the under with two teams that are just way better defensively than they are offensively. But
yeah,
the total being lower than last game closed at, and just some of the weirdness around that has me staying away. I think VCU is better, but I don't love laying points with that offense.
Yeah, you're right. Getting Stockard and Nunn back, who were out that game. Although Stockard didn't play, he played like 6 minutes last game. Maybe check the lineup on that one. Nunn back for sure, though, I think. Ace Baldwin, I think, will have a field day with the Dayton guards. He only had one steal in the first matchup, but I think he gets like 8 steals a game anyways. He's incredible. I sort of lean towards VCU at -4.5. Nothing strong. And yes, we do have a Valley game on the rundown. It's Bradley. It's Northern Iowa. Matt, we grew up in the Valley. We grew up in St. Louis. Arch Madness. Bradley's really good. They've won and covered 4 straight, but Northern Iowa had a nice bounce back against Illinois State. My opinion, Matthew, and you can throw this back in my face, Bradley is peak value right now. I don't buy that they're better than Northern Iowa, which is where they rank currently in KenPom.
Man, I think you're right. I've been a big Bradley believer, and I've just sat by and picked my nose while they've rattled off a lot of good wins, and I've made no
covered
returns
6
on
of
that.
7. Yeah.
So great. I think I bet one of those games. Woo, go Matt. Very frustrating for me. Yeah, they've been great despite not having just Sean Henry, who we thought was kind of holding them back, an offense that didn't really have like a standout score. I thought Henry was really holding them back. I thought they needed that kind of piece. They didn't really have a proven score.
I thought you were saying that when he's on the court, he holds them back. I was like,
wow. Oh, no. I was waiting for him to return. I think that's part of the reason why I haven't been backing them. But I mean, Nolan's playing like a freaking NBA prospect at this point, and then they have these big guys who are really evolving with Mask and Leone's up front. Lots to like about this Bradley team, Kai. I do think it's a short spread and a good spot for the Panthers. If you're going to bet a side, I think that's the right one.
You meant Terry Roberts.
Roberts, not Nolan. Yeah. Yes, I confused the Bradley
used to play for Bradley.
Yes. That's right.
Yes.
I think it's a little too short. Bradley has been a complete missile in league play lately. Their only non-cover was the collapse against rival Illinois State on the road. Like they were up, I think 15 or something in that game, and they've covered every other of their last 7. So this is almost going against my USC upstate take. So I guess I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here, Kai, but I do like the Purple Panthers. I think at home, they're going to knock down some shots. Austin Fife is playing a little bit more at least. And they're coming off that really strong, solid performance against Illinois State. So lean towards Northern Iowa there, but spooked by Bradley lately.
Yeah, Bradley's best offensive rebounding team in the conference by rate, but UNI's the best defensive rebounding team by rate. I think that really offsets them nicely. Strength for strength, the other end, UNI, more talented players. I do like them more at home. No, Terry Roberts, Matt, I'll give that an exception. He is quite talented, but I think overall UNI, I'll take their crop. Bradley 4-1 against the spread as a away dog. UNI 3-6 against the spread as a home fave. I don't love that, but I still like the Panthers in this one. It's gotten up there, -4.5. Might be a tinge high, but lean that way.
Leone's is the key. He's 1-9 in his last 9 attempts from downtown, but he had pretty good games inside the arc against this kind of pack line-ish defense. I think he gets a lot of pick and pop, akin to O'Banner's dominance of Texas last night. That's my parallel there.
Is he going to brick them all in the way O'Banner
did?
What
the hell was that about? God,
it's not a single smooth
on Texas
make,
plus 6, a little annoying, right? Like the wedgie stick, the crap,
the front rim bounce over. Yeah,
And finally, the last game in the rundown before chat mob and more best bets. Also, a reminder: hit that like button if you don't mind. Just hit that little like button with your mouse or your keyboard, whatever instrument you use.
Click
the like. All right, great. Thanks a lot. Florida State at Clemson. Jim, if Caleb Mills and Raekwon Evans are in, I like Florida State. If they're out, I'm probably staying away from this game.
Yeah, because they already don't have Osborne. I mean, there are some major roster issues for this Florida State team. Their last 2 efforts have been putrid, really bad.
Really bad.
But if those guys are in, they're not equal. Like, they're better than Clemson if those guys are in. And the price is basically that they are equal. So I'm personally staying away because of the roster question marks. And I'm not settled enough on this version, sans Osborne of Florida State. And Matt Littlejohn's always a tough place to play. So staying away here, but I get maybe the number leaning towards Florida State.
Yeah, I wasn't as repulsed by Florida State's game against Virginia Tech without Osborne and Evans. So you kind of got a preview of what you might expect tonight, just the caliber of team. And like, they're deep enough. I just freaking Virginia Tech at 18 of 25 from 3, like not 12 of 25, 18 of 25. And they were still kind of close for the first 30 minutes. And then it ballooned at the end.
Couture and Padula combined to go 15 of 18.
Couture 9 of 11. It's like, come on.
Wow.
But I don't want to say that's all BS luck. Florida State has not defended the 3-point line very well this year. Hamilton talked about that at length. Said he has a young team. They're not finding cheaters, not closing out, not following the scout.
They're just not as athletic on the wing anymore.
Yeah, their athletes are a little bit watered down from what we're used to, but they're also younger. So they're not playing with the same intelligence that the typical older athletic teams that Hamilton's had previously. All that said, Kai, I'm on Florida State here. I think they're the better team. Clemson's been off for a while. They apparently got healthier, but I don't buy that. I still think they're banged up and they're sort of overpriced still, I think, in the market.
Well, I think Florida State's underpriced. They've dropped 25 spots in KenPom the last week. I don't think those 2 games are indicative of who this team is. I mean, last game didn't have Mills or Evans. So
what about Leonard Hamilton's try to do the whole gamesmanship? He said he's hopeful they'll play tonight after saying they were doubtful 2 days ago. So who the hell knows? I'm thinking one of those guys plays.
Their net and KenPom are like at-large danger territory right now.
Yeah. They need this game. I like their size, obviously the biggest team in the country, and their versatility. Like, they should swallow the Clemson guards, and they can match up with the inverted bigs with Hall and Tyson going to the perimeter. I think they can handle that. BC beat Clemson at home. I was like, Little John, tough place to play. Boston College did it. Florida State, you can do it too. You have 3 ACC road wins. Come on, get back in that tourney picture, Knowles. What do you say? All right, that does it for our rundown. Matt, let's finish off the chat mob. What do we got?
Fondell asking 2 questions. We'll start with an AAC one, then we'll pivot to his WAC question. Jim, Tulane at Houston. The Wave have been phenomenal, man, but we know that we've been burned too many times trying to get cute, picking the right spot to fade Houston. Not doing it this time.
I think Tulane can give them some problems with like some of the zone trappy stuff. Maybe they can force a turnovers from that like thin backcourt. It's basically Shed, Edwards, and nobody else. And 17 is a lot for a Ron Hunter team. They're very feisty as an underdog, and Houston's played like perfect game after perfect game lately. So I'm leaning towards Tulane, but boy, it is a hold your nose bet.
Yeah, Kyler Edwards is like, oh, okay, well, I'll just take over
All-American.
Sasser. It's just insane what he's done there. And his second one, Kai, we'll get to another WAC question after this, which I know we have some interest in. Chicago State at Abilene Christian certainly feels like an AC runaway, but Chicago State continues to impress us. Like, every game, it's like, another pretty good effort from Chicago State. Well, another good effort. Like, just repeat.
I think this one's the killer. Abilene has not been good lately against the spread, but travel, you cannot fly direct from Chicago to Abilene. I checked on Google. Did you actually? Nice. So it's at least one stop, flying through Dallas, Fort Worth, and they fly commercial. I've been on a plane with Chicago State before. They're going to turn the ball over 100 times. Abilene's pressure is ridiculous, and Chicago State's not a big team. Abilene has struggled this year with size. They're the smallest team in the country. Chicago State's barely bigger than them. I think it's going to be a problem for Chicago State all around. So I think Abilene wins by 20.
I think it was somebody in the chat pointed out that Abilene has not covered like 7 straight games. They're in a funk.
They are. This is a good one to get back.
Got a little overpriced, I think, to start the year. That's my 2 cents on that. Domehawk asking about UT Rio Grande Valley hosting Lamar, 2 teams with just a myriad of injury and personnel question marks. Jim, we like pain, and we are going back to Lamar well again tonight because they got Jordan Adams back. So he's going to carry us to victory, aka Cover Town. Is that right?
I hope so. He was one of the best players in the Ohio Valley like 2 years ago as a freshman. And he had 18, 5, 4, a steal and a block in his first game back. He's awesome. He should move the needle for them. But Rio Grande Valley got Achir, the shot blocker, back. Maybe he is a little bit of a difference maker. I don't know. Lamar, it can't be this bad, I don't think. But it is a new coach. So maybe he's just establishing a new era of sucking there. Lean towards Lamar and hate it.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar just played Abilene close with Adams in there. That just gave me some evidence that, hey, maybe they actually care and are trying now, unlike that just abysmal West Coast throwaway trip when they got
this is a winnable game for you, Lamar. You don't have any of them.
Exactly. So go all in for this game. Frustrating. Kai, sorry. Let's put our
that's okay.
Our motion to the side. Let's be objective, pragmatic analysts here on this program.
They
Kyle
have no
CM,
Division I wins this year?
0. They haven't won. Yeah, one against D1 team.
So bad.
Fun bet though, Jim. We're only catching a touchdown too. Hey, Kai, George Mason slew. Any thoughts on this game? Your boy Kim English against our hometown Billikens? Question mark.
Gosh,
contrasting styles is what
spread
I see.
Feels right. Who wins? That's the question. Who wins?
Yep.
I'm kind of leaning Mason at home. Kim English has this big energy, this big game vibe that I think he gets this team pumped up for this one.
Yeah, I think this one flipped from SLU favorite to George Mason favorite. Somebody asked about that in the chat. It was a little surprising to me. SLU's feisty, but they're like maybe the third best at-large candidate. We're going to talk about this on our pod today, fellas, but they're actually in that mix. And if they get this one, that would be a big win for them.
Eileen Mason, I've been very impressed with how they've been playing post-COVID. I know the George Washington game was sort of a stinker, but you take it back to the Kansas game. They
didn't have Oduro in the George Washington.
They never Oduro, which is he is their everything, in my opinion. They play 4 out around him, and he is unstoppable one-on-one on the block. He's been that good this season. Kai, Matthew Akers got 2 questions. First off, SoCon tilt. This is apparently a rivalry. I did not know that. Please correct me if I'm wrong, chat mob. Samford hosting Chattanooga. It's only a 2.5-hour drive, I believe, from Tennessee down to Alabama. Buckyball versus a dominant Nougat team. What do you see?
I worry about Samford here.
I don't want to fade Nougat. I'm with you.
Is Jermaine Marshall back?
He's back. He came back last game.
Back. Yeah, I don't want to fade Chattanooga. No thanks. There's better things.
Samford tempted me. I was very tempted by Samford. Jim, Arkansas, Georgia is Akers' other question. I like Georgia because I like Tom Crean, I guess, and I like betting on shit teams. Thoughts?
I like Arkansas because they're not a shit team, and they've been rolling since they kind of adjusted the lineup. Chris Likes is a nobody now. Like, he barely plays, and their fans are thrilled about it. I think the Razorbacks are better, but road favorite Razorbacks is a little bit nervy.
Agree.
Kai, are you okay?
Shit. Hi guys, Peter North here, old adult film star. Wife and I love the content. Thanks, Peter North.
His name is Good Looking Honky. All right, perfect.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Okay, we just attract such a diverse, just so many demographics. This show hits.
Okay.
Back to the outline here of chat mob questions. Kai, I'm going right to you here. I'm gonna put you right in the spot. Preston Trout, Wake Forest laying 12.5 to the Fighting Jeff Capels in Pittsburgh. A team that was sort of like, hey, we're feisty again. And then recently it's like, oh, no, you're still Pitt. And that program seems like it's white flag wave time.
Nothing Thoughts? On the side here, Matthew, but I like the over. I like the over because Ethel Horton, 3rd game back. Both games with him in the lineup should have gone over. They missed the hook by 1 against Boston College.
Nice shooter.
Damari Monsanto for Wake, 4 straight overs with him in the lineup. So you have 2 impact players affecting overs in this game. And Pitt's been playing a little bit faster, I think, as well. Wake's been playing faster, pardon me. So I like the over here out of anything.
Okay, great breakdown, despite the comedic adversity you're facing there.
Thumbs up, high heel.
Jim, AJ Donaldson asked on Indiana State versus Drake. Are the Bulldogs off and running after that big win over Loyola, or are they a ripe fade in a sort of let down sleepy spot here?
I kind of lean towards the fade. The market's bet Drake though, so I'm certainly against them. And I've been wanting to bet Indiana State healthy for a while. There's a chance Cooper Neese is back, and with him back in the lineup, I think that is really huge for their offensive potency. And like you said, Drake off that Loyola effort. But I'm staying away here because it's too short. I was expecting to get like 5 to 6 points, and that's not getting that.
I need you to stop laughing. And I'm going to close the chat by myself because I've officially lost it and all professionalism has been thrown out the window. Let's continue cruising here, Jim. Great.
Yeah, I guess just thrown to me because Kai can't speak.
I'm back.
No, Kai, you're toast. I'll get you in 2 more questions. Jim, Graham asking about Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech. He says, I don't like VT as a big favorite, and I tend to agree, but I especially don't like Georgia Tech regardless. Thoughts?
Yeah, I don't really love Georgia Tech either. Georgia Tech, not a team that can overwhelm Virginia Tech with athleticism. I feel like I've said that a million times on the show this year. Like either they're super athletic or they're not. And that's kind of what matters for Virginia Tech's opponents. They're not going to shoot 15 of 22 from deep again. So, you can't expect such a scorching game from the Hokies. But yeah, it's a stay away for me in terms of side.
Hi, Hot Diggity Dog asking about VMI UNC Greensboro. I almost took Greeny.
Yeah, so did I.
But I was pretty sick and disgusted with their effort at Wofford. The offense just really has no identity right now. Like the Langleys think they can dominate and just dribble all over the place like 2 Tasmanian devils out there, but still sort of searching for a DNA under new coach Mike Jones.
They're too Jekyll and Hyde for me. They're hot and they're cold. They're Katy Perry sings a song.
Yes and they're no. Yeah.
They're yes and they're no. Right. And VMI is not bad. So that's a long way of saying I don't know in this game. I lean towards Greensboro, but I'm scared of VMI.
Jim, Coppin State, Delaware State. Little deep cut or extra board request here. I guess I like the over. I feel like I like the overs in a lot of these MEAC SWAC games, honestly. Well, MEAC especially, not SWAC.
Coppin State's tempo change from non-league play to league play is massive. They are sprinting up and down the court because they were playing that horrendous schedule, the non-con. Kevin Sweeney wrote it up for Sports Illustrated, how horrendous of a gauntlet it was. Now that they're actually in league play, it's like 80 possessions every single game. So have to lean towards over.
And they're playing relatively, let's just say, more undisciplined teams more willing to play a frenetic type of game as opposed to some of the bigger conference teams they played.
Unfortunately, Delaware State's offense is so horrible. You might not get there, but the possession count will be there.
The pace should carry you, right? And pace is the more important component when we're talking about totals. Isn't that right, Kai? Kai, isn't that right? No, good.
That's right.
He nods his head correctly. Last at the buzzer, Stephen Mertz coming in with a Navier question. -6 in a revenge spot, Jim. I know you won't be attending or enrolling.
It's a shame,
but
it's kind of
it is a shame. I know. I was too.
Yeah, not that I don't want you to go to war. It would have been fun stories.
No Navy for me. Yeah, it would have been a good storyline for the week. Me doing best bets from a ship or a submarine of some sort. I kind of lean towards Navy here. I think the adjustments that they will likely make, the tweaks, I think Lehigh kind of almost surprised them with the new lineup that they've been rolling out. They've been really effective with kind of the adjustment that they made at the point guard spot, but I think Navy gets them in revenge.
Kai, we didn't talk about Xavier Butler. Danny Harold asking about it, specifically the over, which I felt was an interesting read. I like Butler. It's been bet down a little bit on the side. I would still take it 11.5 though. Too low for you?
I respect the Centas center too much here. So I'm staying away. Butler's getting better. I do think they're getting improving, but still not interested in taking them on the road against Xavier.
Yeah, Xavier just had that big run at Creighton. I'm worried that their confidence is buoyed and they're going to come out angry.
Yeah. Sorry, no take on the total there. More of a stronger side take.
Sorry.
Don't know. Scrolling through here, if I missed any, I think I missed a few extras. I want to kind of circle back to those quickly. We have time, don't we? Yeah, we do. Did we talk about? Yeah, we did.
Oh my God!
This is what happens when
Matt's in charge.
We can maybe go to best bets.
I'm trying to skip over this. Bets. Just like
we're just going to best bets.
Thread here. Best bets. It's time
for best bets. Hey, we all gave our best bets, so let's remind the folks at home our best bets. Jim, start us off.
I have USC Upstate -3 from the Big South, and Nova-Marquette, the late night game in Milwaukee, under 133. Hopefully they're sleepy. Everybody wants to go to bed by that point.
Great, Matt, and Matthew.
Do I have to do best bets? My best bets suck. Kai, do yours first. Let's shake it up a little bit. I'm trying
You've
to
already given your best bet.
I know, but I want to present them formally last.
Okay, sure. My best bet reminder, Mizzou, Florida under. I'm calling it 135. And if it pushes 135 and you want me to take 134.5, okay, I'll adjust the record. But I'm going to say 135 because I gave it to the producer for the show. I don't want to change it. Okay. Mizzou, Florida under. Matthew.
Rhode Island -5. the Rams, a team I don't really like that much going on the road. Always a great recipe for confidence in a bet, but I think that line's incredibly too short for a Fordham team that is highly overpriced. Rams -5 is my best bet, Kai.
Ram on Ram action, Matthew, Rhode Island.
That's right.
That's it for our show.
That's right. You're hosting. Sorry.
That's right. Thank you. We are back tomorrow.
This is either our best or our worst episode. I don't know which
our
one.
best.
And there's no in
second best.
There's absolutely no in between. There's no in between.
We're back tomorrow at 12 Central Time. Thank you, BetRivers. Please hit the like button on the way out. Good luck with your bets today. Good luck watching the glorious basketball we have all day long.